excited to welcome our newest guest, Zach Neal, who many of you have known and follow on Instagram as GolfDad. So with that,
my pleasure.
Welcome, Zach, to the program. What your background is actually in baseball, having played professionally. Before we dive into some of the golf and mindset questions, can you first touch on your career in baseball and even as a junior, what led you to going down that route?
Yes. So growing up, I was always either playing baseball or golf. I just depend. I played a little football too in Texas, right? That's what everyone does. But it was always golf and baseball were my two favorites. And there was even one point I was like, man, I really like this golf thing. Like maybe I should try this out. But, luckily, I guess I didn't. But then, I played baseball in college and then played professionally for the last 14 years. I guess not the last 14 years. I was done in 2023 was my last season. Drafted in 2010 and played 14 seasons professionally in major leagues and overseas as well in Japan. Okay. So it was a really good run, and now I've have two little babies and try to play as much golf as I can, and started the company GolfDads just for all the dads out there, like you did for golf moms, but for the dads who love to play golf and don't get to as much, and also love being a dad. So it was a good mixture of both. So that's a little bit of my background, obviously the abbreviated version, but
Can I ask what led you to I guess, I don't know if you call it in professional sports, retirement? Is that the word that you use?
Mm-hmm.
Was becoming a dad led you down that journey? Was it, you just knew it was time to hang up the hat? What kind of led you to that, if you don't mind touching on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great question. That's playing sports and baseball. You can go as long as, you might keep going for a couple of years, and maybe you should have stopped earlier and you don't get anywhere, right? My last season was in the major leagues. I was a bit of a journeyman in the sense that I wasn't a high pick in the draft, so it was a bit of a different career, I guess you could say, for me, in the sense that it took me a while to get to the big leagues. It took me 6 years, and then even then, like I was kind of up and down, parts of 4 years in the big leagues, and then so my last year as a 35-year-old ended in the big leagues, and my last pitch was a major league strikeout, and so like on that last pitch, like deep inside me, I felt like, okay, like I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go out on this note. I've grinded so hard for so long, subconsciously I was like, okay, that might be it. And so we were in Angel Stadium, and, after the game, last game of the season, I kind of just paused and looked around and took it all in, because like I just had a feeling like inside me. I was like, okay, that's good. And also not sure, I guess, what was that? I already had like my little girl, the years. I can't keep up anymore, but
I know once you have kids, you lose all track of time.
Time is I don't know what it is anymore, but and then that off season, my wife was pregnant. I didn't have like the offers that I felt would keep me going, in a sense. Like I had some offers to play overseas, but not in Japan or, the league I wanted. So it just felt like a good time to stop and a good time to enjoy my daughter's young life, and then enjoy my wife's pregnancy and the baby. So I just felt like it was time for something new. When you do something for so long, you just kind of get tired, and I was tired.
Yeah, right.
So a lot of factors, but
I think too, part of it also becomes part of your identity. So I think your self-awareness of just saying, you know what, I'm done. I accomplished what I wanted to, and it's okay to shift gears and stuff. Do you think that a lot of professional athletes struggle with that, of knowing when to hang up the hat?
100%, right?
Like I think of Tom Brady, and I mean, I know he's everyone loves him and stuff, but I think of, in and he's out, and then just even the family dynamics of his family wanting him to be done, and he just can't hang it up. So I just wonder if that's the case in a lot of sports.
I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on how that person's wired. For me, for the longest time, I tried to not make baseball my identity, right? Like I tried to maintain a perspective of, look, like this is just what I do, like in the moment. It's what I'm good at. It's what I get paid to do. But it's not like I'm not gonna rest everything on this and be that person, But in the same sense, like that is who I was, from a routine standpoint. From when you do the same thing every day for the same month for 14 years, it's like, you are that in a sense, right? But I think it is important. I mean, I always try to maintain a perspective like, look, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like this is going to end. So I didn't try to get like too wrapped up in it on a personality level. But you see a lot of guys that just can't stay away, right? But I was kind of ready to stay away. So
How do you
Yeah.
transition from, to your point, for the last 14 years, you probably had a very regimented schedule from your diet to practice to then transitioning to, I guess, do you call this normal life? I don't know. From going pro, like, how do you mentally transition to that? Because is it kind of an extreme or has it been more gradual for you?
It's taken some time. I will be honest. And I think that's the one thing that I missed the most was the structure. You know what I mean? Like it was structured even to like a month, right? Like February and March, I knew I was going to be in Arizona.
Right.
April and May, I was, gone for the season, and then, off seasons here. Like I know what to do now, but it was refreshing too, in the sense it's like, look, it's the summertime. I don't have to be at the stadium. I don't have to, I can go, to Colorado to go skiing in the winter. It was a new freedom. Right. And so the first year, like it was amazing. I didn't really try to do too much. I try to put some effort into Golf Dads and grow that a little bit. And then it's been lately that I've had to kind of find my way in a sense. But one of the things that I try to do with that is try to just make my life like baseball. So like very organized, very routine based. Like I have like a routine for each week, right? Like I have a list of things I need to do because that's the one thing I miss was the routine of it all. So I've just tried to be organized in that same sense, but a
Sure.
new mission,
Right.
if you will, right?
Well,
Yeah.
and, how old are your daughters, did you say? Your kids?
My little girl's 4. My little boy is he's 1, 15 months. Yeah.
Amazing.
So I mean, I'm a busy guy.
You are, and I can say from experience, and I've always been an organized person, but becoming a mom forces you to be even more organized. And for people that aren't
Yeah.
organized, it can be a struggle. But from keeping calendar, doctor's appointments, and then once they get into school, it's like a whole nother level to keep up on top of the emails and everything that there is a structure that comes with it. And so the older your kids get, I think the structure becomes built in. So you'll
Yeah.
definitely thrive in that since you're already used to that. Where some people struggle because they weren't used to such structure. And then kids
Yeah.
now force into that. And it's always evolving. You're in that phase where they need a snack every few hours, a diaper change, and a nap. It shifts once they get to elementary
Hmm.
school. And just when you've figured out that schedule, it shifts to
Yeah.
something else. So you have to learn
Right.
to be ever evolving, changing. And for me, that's been a struggle of just, but now I feel seasoned enough that I expect it. But I know in those early years it was a struggle. But the fact that you're kind of already experiencing that on a personal level, you're going to be able to thrive in that in parenting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that will help too. Each day can be different at times, and
Hmm.
I find kind of peace in like the knowing what I have that day, or just that sense of it. But at the same time, like we love to travel, and I just like to jet out and just
Yeah.
leave,
Right.
and
You don't
like
have to answer to
escape that,
anyone,
right?
right? Yeah.
Or yeah, just kind of escape and
That's,
get away. And I think both are really healthy, especially for me. Like if I need to go like periods of organize and periods of that, and then I need to just go away and whatever, go to the beach for a
for
couple
sure.
weeks or whatnot, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Before we jump into golf dads, a burning question I have for you to give to other juniors is kind of from that high school to college transition and then college to pro transition, the mindset for each one. And at what point in high school you're like, yep, I'm definitely going to college for baseball. And then at what point in college you're like, I'm going to go pro and go all the way. And what kind of mindset did you have to continue on that journey and not give up?
yeah, I think this is I get asked this quite a bit, and I think this is with anything in life, right? And especially in golf, especially as you get into like the more serious levels like college and pro. And but for me, like even when I was little, I didn't, I always wanted to, I was a baseball freak. Like I love baseball. I love the major leagues. I watched Major League Baseball with my dad. I laid out my uniform at night. I was completely obsessed all the time. Like that's what I wanted to do. Right. So I knew that, but I didn't know like how realistic that was. I didn't ever think like, okay, like I just need to do this and this to do it. No, I just was really obsessed with like the working at it. I love to practice. I love to pitch in the yard. I love to do all of those things. Those are just natural to me, right? And that, sorry, a little side note, but that was what I like to do. And then I just kept getting better and better and a little bit better. But like when I was 12, it wasn't, I knew where I wanted to play college. I wanted to play when I grew up in South Carolina. So I was like, I want to play for the Gamecocks. Like that's what I wanted to do. So in order to do it, right, you have to kind of lay out a map. This is how I describe it, right? And like each little step and each little staircase, like each thing just gets you closer and closer and closer, right? So when you're 12, like I wanted to be the best 12-year-old. When I was in high school or 14, I wanted to be good then, and then when I was in high school, I was good. I was the best pitcher on my team. We had some good players, but I was probably the best. And like, but that I wanted that really badly. So like I worked hard. And it sounds cliche, but it's like, no, the people like that work really hard and like most of the time, like they're going to be good because not only are they talented and they love it, but like that's the factor that I think is the hardest part. And not a lot of people like loved that part of it, but to me, like it was what I really enjoyed. Um, and then, finally, like I go to junior college, I have a scout call me. I'm like a pro scout. Like, that's cool. Maybe I'm pretty good, or whatever. And he's like, well, what do you want to sign for? I don't have an agent. I don't have anything. I'm like, I don't know, like 600,000. I'll sign. Cause I was going to Oklahoma and I wanted to go there anyway. So I just threw out a number and it was like, okay, we're probably going to pass, but I was like, okay, sounds good. But I wasn't ever thinking like I knew I wanted it, but I didn't know if I could do it. But I just each place where I was, I tried to like capitalize and I tried to not take the moment for granted, if that makes sense. Like if I was when I was in college at Oklahoma, like I was focused. Like I wasn't messing around, I was like trying to be really good. I was working out in the weight room and practicing and
Mhm.
trying to do all my stuff and like I don't know, that was just like my innate nature was like, look, I don't mess around and like I know like what can be possible. And so that was kind of like my core, I don't know what you would say for that, like core being, if you will, like I'm just going to work hard and then see if it works out. And then I think I just got a little bit better each year. And then like you have your mindset of what you want to do, your golf mom mindset. My baseball mindset was like, look, I want to play in the big leagues. So as soon as I was at my first spring training, I would see like these older players with their families. And like, I was like, I want to do that. I want to have like my family at spring training and doing all this stuff. And so same sort of principle in the sense it's like, if you want to do that, like all of your decisions throughout the day and like have to be geared towards that goal.
Mhm.
Like if you want to be the best golfer, then you can't do some things that other people do. You can't go out with your friends all the time. You can't like you have to choose your moments, right? You have to have like the end goal always in like the back of your mind, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I would say is the secret. Like if you want to do something and if you want to be like the 1%, like it's very, very competitive. So you have to always be like making decisions based on your ultimate.
Right?
Right, right. So I mean, it's a lot of dedication and then in that sense too, like a lot of people do that and it just doesn't work out,
Mhm.
but that was kind of always my mindset too was, look, I'm going to try this and like try hard because then if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't matter.
At least
I
say you
never
gave
wanted
it
to
your
look,
all.
yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't ever want to look back and be like, man, I really wish I would have lifted every day during the off season. Like I couldn't handle that feeling, so I'd never did not do that, and then that takes you to be better because you're working. So just like that guilty feeling of being able to look back like after my career and saying, look, that was probably the best that I could have been. So, you get what you get. So that was kind of
Right.
like my mindset.
Is this something that do you think your parents helped instill in you? Was it a coach, or were you just born with this natural drive and hard work ethic? Because I'm curious if that's something people are born with, if it's parenting, a combination of everything.
I think that, yeah, like a mixture of both, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. My parents were always supportive. If I wasn't like working or something, like I'd hear about it, like you say you want to do this, but you don't do anything to do it, right? You need to like act on it. If you say you want to do these things, then, show me.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, like that makes sense. So like little subtle things like that and always just being super supportive of me and, just always, I guess, like pushing them, but then also like watching them work was something, like
Mhm.
that's a good work ethic. Like they
Sure.
work hard, so I should too, right?
Mhm.
And then yeah, I think the other part is just like that innate nature of like just a little bit crazy, right? I was like,
It
I'm
just is
gonna,
born in you.
yeah.
What would you say growing up or even in your professional career when there was a downtime, whether you weren't quite where you wanted to be, you lost a game, what was something that your parents would say to you that just gave you that extra push, that motivation, or just mindset tips? Are there anything they said that could also be transitioned into golf parents to be able to share?
Well, this is like kind of actually a golf story, but like when I was really little, like probably not really little, but 10 or 11, I would be hitting, bad golf shots. And I actually use this on my dad now is like and he would say, like, how could you ever get mad? He's like, you don't practice. He's like, you don't play. Like, how could you get mad? How could you expect yourself to be good at something if you're not even applying yourself, right? Now, I'll use it on him too, because now he's the one that is crying over bad shots, right? But it's like, but that was something that always stuck with me. Is like, how could you get mad at yourself? You don't even practice. You don't even do the things you should, and then you can get mad, right? Once you've applied yourself, and then so that learning that on the golf course applied to baseball,
Yeah.
and so
I love
you
that.
know, and then I would say, yeah, after a bad game, I would be able to say, like, did you try, like, during the week? Did you prepare? Did you, like, oh, my body feels like doesn't feel great. Well, why should it feel great? Have you done anything to help your body? So it was always like a checklist within like my own space of, look, you shouldn't. Why would your body feel good? You haven't put in any extra work. You haven't done any sort of therapy for your body. Like, your arm feels bad. Well, you should do something about it if it feels bad. So that was always kind of, a check and balances for me is, you can't get upset if you're not prepared. That's when you can get upset is like, look, I did prepare this week. The game just didn't go how I wanted to. But then at the same time, that's like the mental aspect of I did do everything I needed to do. I was ready, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
And
Like,
just
that's
being
the
okay
mental
with it.
part of golf, especially. Like, I mean, sports in general are in that way, but you have to just move on. Like, pitching was the same way for me. Being like a pitcher is, it's just like golf. I'm a starting pitcher. I've got whatever 100 pitches. I can't get mad at pitches 22 through 28. Like, I still have 70 to go.
Right.
There's a lot left, and so that to me is like why I love golf. Is like I can start 6 over through 4 holes and finish at 4 under or 4 over. Not 4 under. I wish not yet, but like it's the same sense of like the only shot that matters is the next shot. Roll. You got to keep going, keep moving,
Yeah, absolutely.
flush it quick, right?
Right. This clip I need to like replay for my son when we're out there.
Yeah,
So,
that's how it is, man. You got to keep going.
mhm.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter. The shot's over. Keep going. I always had a coach tell me, look, when your cleats are off, it's done. Like, you
Mhm.
took them off, flush everything, on to the next. But,
Mhm.
as a pitcher, you have to do that a little faster.
Right.
Give up, 2 doubles in a row. You've got to
In a
really
way, you don't
mentally
have
just
time to dwell on the negative. You gotta
no
think
time.
quick and just move on to the next to be
Right.
prepared to make that one good, right?
Yeah. And I think that's why I love golf so much now, being a former starting pitcher, is like on the number one. Me and my buddy were just talking about this on the first tee box. Like, you don't know what that day is going to bring. And that's like part of the excitement, right?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to have to work for this, 77, or is it going to be an easy day where it's
Mhm.
tap in pars, a few bogeys, or is it going to be, 3 double bogeys and some birdies? And yeah, and that excitement was what I felt, about to start and pitch. And so it was same sort of feeling, and why I love doing it now.
Right. What would you say are the 2 biggest parallels between baseball and golf that you've noticed in this journey?
I think like the one we just touched on, the mental aspect, it's just a mental warfare. Like, I played in the club championship this past summer, and it was like I was excited, like I had prepared for a baseball game. So I can take so I guess two things. The mental warfare that you go through on the golf course is similar to baseball. And like for me, like I was always pretty good at that. So to be able to apply that in like today's world by not playing is good for me. Especially in competitive golf. Like, I love competitive golf. It's so fun. Like, once you do that, to me, like, it's even more fun than going and play like with the buddies or whatever. Like, cause me selfishly, like, I'm like, in charge, and I want to, do well. So that's
Right.
my favorite, one of my favorite things. And then the second thing was preparation. Like, whenever, like, I loved preparing for a baseball start more than I did like the start sometimes.
So you really took
Each
time to
day.
enjoy the journey.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. You have to. You
Yeah,
have to. I mean, or else it just gets gets really long. If you have to be able to enjoy like the process, you know what I mean? How it goes.
awesome. Very cool.
So,
Thank you for sharing that.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now transitioning, Zach, over to Golf Dads. First and foremost, tell us more about Golf Dads and Instagram. I mean, I love the content you post. That's what led me to you. I
Thank
find
you.
it entertaining, engaging, and just unique. So, if you can share with our listeners or people who are viewing this on YouTube a little bit more about what Golf Dads is all about.
Yeah, I give you the full story.
I would love the full story.
I was in Japan in 2021. I just had my little girl, so I was actually in lockdown for COVID, close contact COVID thing. So I was in a hotel room for like a week, I think. And
Man.
so I had some time, and I had just, like I said, become a new father, and I love golf. And it's like, man, like I'm not like a golfer anymore. I'm a golf dad, and so that's kind of how it all started. I had somebody draw up some logos for me. I kind of drew what I wanted it to be, and he took it from there. And then ever since then, like I just started with hats. Like I just made a couple hats, and then some people bought them and had a website and made a few other things. And then the social media stuff is like, that's probably the hardest part for me, is creating the content. Like, because I try to do it a lot, but it's
Wouldn't seem
hard.
that it would be hard because it comes off so
Yeah.
naturally and organically, and also just that, you're able to do it, so but I understand it is hard to keep up with it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a full time. I tell everyone it's a full time gig that doesn't pay very well right now. So it's, it's like, yeah. And then it's just been growing a little bit. And, I started it to not, I just wanted to have a place where like fellow dads can rock like a logo, and
Yeah,
then like people know, you know what I
mhm,
mean? Like I
totally.
want people to see like the little, you can see it in the background or whatever, like the circle GD, and like,
Mhm,
look,
yes.
like,
Mhm,
yeah, you can see, like, look, like that guy's going through it, right? Like he's got a 3 and a 1 year old. He slept 4 hours last night. He's dying to get on the course just for a little breather, right? Like golf to me is like not an escape, right? But it's like a reset.
yeah,
Like
it's
when I go
therapy.
play, very therapeutic for me, right? So I wanted like a brand in a space and a page for dads to come to and be like, man, like I totally get that. Like I understand what this guy's saying. Like once you become a father, like your priorities shift. So I wanted a brand for, it's like, look, I love golf and I love being a dad, but like I can't play all the time. And like that doesn't mean that I don't want to. I
Yeah.
have stuff to do. Like I
Yes.
have very busy, right? So a brand that kind of captured that. And I want like a community feel, right? Like I want it to be, I don't want it to be like a singular person. Like I want it to be all of us kind of together as golf dads, like support each other and look, like this is hard. Like being a dad's a lot. And
Mhm.
so yeah, so that was kind of like the idea of the brand. I try to just make it like kind of like baseball, just try to do a little bit better, like, and work on it a little bit each day. And it's a lot too, because I do all like the design work with like my reps that I use through like Imperial and Puka, and I have a medley of people that I work with who are all awesome. Like the space is so cool. Everyone is really, really cool in the golf space. So
Yeah,
that's been fun.
they are, for sure. I
Yeah.
find it to be a very welcoming community and, like, in areas that you would think would be, like, competitive. Like, you think of, like, online social media presences, everyone's, like, competing against each other, but the golf world's really unique. I feel that a lot
Mm.
more people are willing to collaborate together.
Yeah, and I think too, like going into that space and the golf content space and the creator space, it's very competitive in the sense that, like, I think that a lot of people see, you can get a little bit carried away in the sense like, oh, I need like all these followers. Oh, I need, because look at what he's doing, look at what they're doing. Like they get to go on these trips and play in these tournaments and get
Yeah,
paid lots of money. It's like,
right.
man, like I don't, like that would be nice, but like that's not like the ultimate goal for me, right? Like that. So like, and then like as I'm going and making the company, I was like, man, I don't want this to be a capitalistic company. I don't want this to be a company with no backbone. So in my city, Fort Worth, there's a company, a charity called Hope Farm, and so what they do is they aid in like after school programs for inner city kids in the area who, I think most of them, they don't have fathers in their life. So I was like, man, I need to make this to where, look, I'm going to help them out, because that's who introduced me to golf. That's who introduced me to, like, and help me grow. And a lot of them don't have that. Like portions of my proceeds go to them. And so that's like the ultimate would be, Golf Dads is a place for dads to come together and a place for the brand to grow, but also help others who aren't as fortunate. You know what I mean? So that is an important piece of it. I mean, I would love to be able to sit in them more money, but it's
Yeah.
it's
I
hard growing these things, right? And it
Yes.
takes time.
I love that though. I mean, I think that is such a key component. As you said, I mean, so many kids who play golf are blessed with families who are supportive, have financial means too, because golf is not a cheap sport. And there's so
Mhm.
many kids that I'm sure would love to be introduced to it and just don't have
Yeah.
access or even a father or mother figure to help them. So the fact that you're taking that on, I think is really admirable. That's great. Yes. Zach, with your kids being so young, once they're of age, are you going to introduce them to golf and baseball
Oh,
or
they're
both?
already playing. They're already playing.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, the 1-year-old has a club. He's got a bag over there, little
Yeah.
Sundays bag.
Oh,
He's
yes.
got his bag. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can see it.
That's so
Yeah, so
cute.
he's got his bag, and little girl, she's hit or miss, right? And I would my advice to like the parents who are putting their kids into like this, you would probably know, into golf young. Like I have really low expectations for her, but there are some days where she's like, "Hey, look, like you
Yeah.
can refer to me as Nelly Corda, but not my name." And she
Sure.
is
That's
into
so
it, and she
cute.
wants to hit.
Yeah.
But I don't ever like push it too much, right? And that's another thing with sports that I'm gonna try to be mindful of is look, they're little brains. Like I don't want to overboard.
Right.
I don't want to do like two sports at one time. I want it to
Hmm.
be very seasonal. I want it to be very relaxed. Like I also teach pitching, and I have parents that have like 8-year-olds that come in. I'm like, look, like he's 8. Like it's okay. If he's lucky, he'll be playing baseball for the next 27 years of his life.
Or when you're on the golf course with other dads and friends, it probably is a good outlet, like you said, for therapy to escape, but also to bounce ideas off each other of like, what are we doing? How do we do this? And get advice. Do you talk a lot on the course with friends, or being men, do you not talk too much about parenting, or do you seek your friends for advice when out there?
Yeah, I think, yeah, as men, like people probably don't talk about it as much, but I try to be like, I have 2 kids now, and people are like, oh, do you want more kids? I'm like, I have 2 kids. 2 kids is a lot. Like, don't discount 2 kids, like this is like being a parent for 2 kids is a lot. Like,
Yeah.
so I always try to like just call it out, right? Like, hey, this is a lot.
Hmm.
This is being a parent of 2 and father of the household and all the things that go with that. Like, I try to just say how it is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hide behind it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like people act like they have it all together, and I try my best to do that, but
None of us do.
it's hard, like it's hard stuff. So it's the best stuff and it's the best challenge. But to say that it's like not hard, or to say that you don't, I don't think that that's honesty. It's a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, I
Absolutely.
think that's kind of my angle on it is I try to be like, hey, this is pretty hard, right? And they're like, oh, dude, yeah. I'm like, okay, like cool, like we can talk about that and then enjoy some golf and yeah, like you said, golf and being able to go out and sometimes I just like to walk alone. I'll go
Yeah.
play golf alone and walk 9 holes and no music, no
Yeah.
phone, just like go play and
Be in your
then
own thoughts, right?
yeah, my own thoughts and my own little like mental challenge and then
Hmm.
now when I go back, I'm like I'm refreshed, right?
Yeah, you're ready to conquer whatever,
Yeah, I
challenge
don't
or
like drink too
tantrum.
much I don't drink too much on the course. Like I try to like, just because I know when I go home, like my clock, I gotta like clock in,
That's
right?
the perfect word. That's exactly how I would rephrase it. It's like, you have to be on. Zach, what would you recommend to juniors who are pursuing a dream, whether it's golf, baseball, any sport, or even academically, that they can wake up every day and say to themselves in the mirror? What's something that you did as a junior who then went on to greatness?
Yeah, I think that kind of goes back to what I said earlier is like you just have to try. And one thing that I always lived by throughout my career and even in college I made some decisions where I left schools and I was like, you know what, I need to get out of here. Like I don't like this, like that feeling, right?
Hmm.
And just tried to live by the saying of you never know. You know what I mean? You
Hmm.
never know what can be, but you know what it's going to be if you don't,
Right.
right?
Hmm. I see
So
your
that's, oh yeah, that's a birdie. Yeah. So like you never know. Like, and if you want to do something, there's only really one way to find out. You have to try.
right.
And if it doesn't work, then and move on and next thing and you can adjust easily. But yeah, you never know. So
I
just
love
try.
that. For all of our followers, listeners, and people watching on YouTube, how can everyone find you, Golf Dads, connect with you, your website? If you can please share that, which will also be in the show notes for anyone who wants to click on.
Yeah, so I mean, Instagram's always good. Like I message everyone myself on there. Like my wife helps me with the social media aspect, like reels and stuff. But I message everyone. It's _golf_dads_ and then email is golfdadsproshop@gmail.com. And my website is golfdadsproshop.com. And you can go on there and I do through the business. I do corporate gifting, tournament gifting, my gear that I make, and all of it goes to help out kind of the underlying mission that I explained earlier. So I'd appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Zach, for being here. And for everyone who's been listening, watching, please share this with another parent, like and subscribe. And we will see you in the next episode.